Hello and welcome to another video from Parker Adams Boat Sales. We're down at Southampton Dry Stack today in Southampton, and we're here to look at this. It's a 2019 Ribeye S785, and it's the sport version that Ribeye do, and it's only been used really this year, even though it's a 2019 boat. And we're going to show you around the features and benefits this boat has to offer today. Follow me around and we'll show you all the ins and outs of this boat and why it's such a great buy. Right, so first of all, what we'll do, we'll take a look at the engine. Now the engine on here is a Yamaha 300 horsepower engine, and we've actually had the benefit, we've just gone out on this boat and done drone footage on it, which you can see, and we'll share a link with this boat down underneath the description. But we've gone out on it and it goes like an absolute rocket. This boat does with this 300, and we touched 50 knots with this boat just about half an hour ago. Absolutely superb performance and really good acceleration off the mark. And if you watch the drone video, then you'll see it in action. It really is awesome with this engine. And as you can see, the whole boat looks like a new pin. And we start off with the tubes. So these are two-tone tubes, and they're fabric impression tubes. Really nice feel to them and good quality. We've got a nice rubbing straight there, but underneath the tube, I don't know if we can see that it's actually black and with the grey on top. And what you'll find though, with a bit of aging, the black underneath, it's normally the part of the tube that discolours quickest because of the dirt and the debris from the water, and of course being black, it will be a benefit to it. Secondly, what I quite like about this, I don't know if they all have them, I'm not a Ribeye guy, but we've got Scott seats fitted, and I'm sure they don't. And these are nice suspension Scott seats, so when you're at the helm you have a nice suspension seat which takes off all the lumps and bumps as you go over wash and through heavier seas. So a very nice, comfortable seat, and they've got this bolster in the back as well. So when you're here, you really feel like you're in place. And obviously the driver's got one as well. You can actually adjust the pressures on these. So depending on your own weight, and if you've got children on here or adults, you can actually change the pressure on here, so you can have it more or harder or softer, depending on the ride you wish to have. But they've also gone to the trouble with the jockey seats behind of actually putting bolsters on here as well. So very often you don't get the bolsters on the rear jockeys, you just have the up and over bar, but on here we've got the rear bolsters as well. So very, again, for 4 people at speed, it's actually, you can have very comfortable, and you've got grab handle there as well, so you can have a good comfortable ride. But of course that's not the only seating. As we go to the back, we've got a bench seat. And again, they've gone to the trouble of putting seat backs on here, and there's actually room for 3 along here. And again, that's just in the right part of your back to give you a good bit of support. And of course, they've put a couple of handles on, so again, you can actually sit quite comfortably here as well, and hold on for dear life when we're doing 50 knots. Underneath here, there's storage. And we can see we've got various bits and pieces under here for storage. We've got 2 Fusion speakers. There are 2 more Fusion speakers as well, so there's 4 speakers altogether. And down under here is access to the primary fuel filter, as well as a hand primer to prime the fuel. So we've got a primary fuel filter under here, and then the well at the back where the bilge pump is for pumping out. So we're getting quite a lot of storage here, so anything wet you put in here will go down into the bilge and can get pumped out. On the deck we've got 2 deck drains, and quite often you don't actually get access into this part of the deck. So many rib manufacturers actually teak over the top of them, but we can actually get into the bottom of the bilge here. So we can actually, if there's any water or anything that builds up in there, we can keep on top of it. So it's actually good to have all access everywhere. And we've got this, and it's just a little deck drain. So if the boat is left open, and obviously we get a lot of heavy rain, it can drain down into the bilge, down to the back, and the bilge pump will pump it out. It saves swamping the boat with water in heavy rain. But normally we'd have that in place when we're going along. Okay, so this you can sit in the driver's seat, and we can see the instrumentation. And first of all, it's actually quite a nice steering wheel. I like the feel of this. It's got the Ribeye logo in there as well, which is quite a nice feature to have that on there. It sort of personalises it a little bit. It's a Ribeye, it's quite nice. It's not just a generic steering wheel. Throttle controls are naturally now electronic, like most outboards are, so nice, easy, smooth of change of gear and acceleration. And we can actually start it up. If we have a look here, we don't have normal dials and instruments like we normally do. We have a digital display, and you can see that just coming up there. We'll start the engine, and we can see now we've got the different options on here. So we've got the revs, and we can have fuel, flow and economy, and we've got temperature, battery, oil pressure, as well as trim height level and speed. But we can adjust this. We can actually have different settings on here, so we can actually adjust what we want to show. And there's different combo modes set in, so we can have it showing fuel, we can have it showing speed, and we can personalize this as well, so we can have it doing different things. It does have a trolling mode as well. If you go onto there, so it can adjust this. You can set the set speeds on there for trolling, as well as we can go back to the normal setting. So it's not the only display. The other display on here is the Garmin, and this is actually it's got buttons on here, which is nice to be able to use buttons in and out, but it's also touchscreen. And fitted on here is the charts and sonar. So we can show you the sonar working as well. So we've got depth, fish finder and charts on here. There's lots of other things we can do on here, like setting tracks and marks. It does have the option of having the engine instrumentation on here as well. So if you wanted to have it on here as well, it doesn't look like to me it's plumbed in, but it is something that will interface with the Yamaha system. So it'll be an interface cable or something that you'll need to fit, but it does have that option if you prefer to have the instrumentation down there whilst you're going along. But the Garmin systems are really nice now. They're very user friendly and very easy to use, and the charts show very nice on here, as you can see, nice and clear during the daytime, and very responsive and easy to use. And on here we can see we've got GPS position, depth, GPS speed, heading, and of course the chart on there. We don't need much more on a rib like this. Unusual array of switches, but this will actually tell you more what's on the boat. So we have deck lights, and as you can see when we look around the boat, all around the edges, just under the tubes, there's actually blue LED lights all around. And at night this really will light this up, a nice blue hue to it, which goes very well with the seating. And they go all the way round to the front as well. So in the front bow section, we've got them actually fitted underneath these two front seats. And as we can see, there's a bit more seating up at the front here. So Ribeye have supplied this cushion to go on the front. It's also anchor locker access. You can see in there, so we can see the anchor in there. And Ribeye as well, they've actually, which is don't always get it on ribs, they've actually put a bow roller as well on the front here for the anchor. So we've actually got a proper roller for hauling up the anchor chain and the rope, and then we can tie it off on there. So it's actually quite a nice fit on here. Quite often you just have to throw it overboard and you don't have that action of a proper roller on ribs, but it's nice to see that. It's quite a nice feature. And again, the seating area here, we've got two bench seats and then a lounger here, so you could effectively lounge on here as well if you wanted to. That's quite comfortable. And we've got a normal suicide seat. So the suicide seat here again is quite comfortable, and you've got two handhelds. We which again sometimes you don't get on the suicide seats on the front, so you can have another passenger on here, relatively comfortable going along. Not a bit windy. Under here is access to all your electronics and the battery. So you've got battery, fuses, and all your wiring and electronics in there. Reasonably good access, so you can get at everything, and again there's a little bit more extra storage under here if you wish. So back to the instrumentation. If we look on the left hand side of here now, we can see we've got a nice Fusion head unit. So the Fusion head unit is Bluetooth compatible, so we can attach our telephone and have the music streaming off of our phone onto here, as well as it's got normal radio stations as well. And we've got a nice Garmin VHF on here as well. And the Garmin VHF, again, it's got DSC built in, and it's just a nice, clear, easy system to use. Okay, so the engine's now running. We've started it up, and as you can see, it's got very easy, smooth gear change. It's nice and quiet. Changing gear, it's nice and easy. Power trim's on here as well, and again it's nice and smooth, nice and easy gear changes, and the steering's very light. Okay, so the Yamaha 300, as we can see here, it's actually running at the moment. It's very quiet running, so so hopefully it gives the impression on the video how quiet it is. I can actually hear the telltale coming from it. You know, actually, we can see that here. It actually sounds louder than the engine to me. So it's a very quiet engine. And Yamaha have always been good at making good, strong engines that last. And the power in this is pretty phenomenal. The other thing I noticed driving this Rib earlier on today is that we thought it had power steering because it was so light. In fact, it doesn't. We've been looking around, we can't find a power steering pump or hear one. It's actually got a high drive system on here. So we use these hydraulic pipes. So it is a hydraulic system, but not power assisted. But if you come up to the helm, the steering is so light, I can just turn it with one finger. And I can do this whilst we're going along as well. At no point does it feel there's any heaviness to the steering. It's actually a really nice system. And I don't see the high drive system very much, but it's actually proving to me here it's actually a really nice system, because the 300 Yamaha normally can feel quite heavy in the steering, but on this, you know, it feels very, very light, and like I say, it can steer it with one finger. It's a really nice system. But I want to just draw your attention to the radar arch, and there's a couple of features on here that's quite nice. One of them is it's got fitted LED nav lights, which you can see they're on, they're nice and bright. The overhead one strangely isn't, it's just a normal bulb, so we've got LED on either side, but then we've got a normal bulb on the top. I don't know why they did that, but there it is. But the other thing I like is actually it's round onto the rear cleats. Now I've just noticed this, and we can see we've got the cleat here that we put the rope on, but of course when we don't have the rope on here, when we take it off the pontoon, we want to store it somewhere. So they've neatly added this extra bit so we can actually wrap the rope around instead of having to remove it and try and find somewhere to store it, or having the rope laid over the deck where it has the risk of falling in. If we just draw your attention down a little bit more, we actually see there's a nice bathing ladder on the back here as well, so we can get in and out easily. Sometimes this is missing on ribs, so if you are swimming, it just makes life a whole lot easier to get in and out of the boat. And of course, if you are doing water sports, this is a brilliant rib for setting up on that. And of course, we've got the tow bar on the back here as well. So, so it is a setup for doing water sports, this boat. So we've got a good torquey engine, bathing ladder, and a tow hook on here as well, and lots of seating for passengers. There's plenty of side deck space. We can put skis, paddle boards, anything like that down on here. It's quite nice and deep, this as well. And this we can see it's synthetic teak lathe all the way through, and it just gives it a bit of warmth and a nice bit of grip underfoot as well when you're walking around the side decks. The last thing I just want to show you is it's actually It's actually quite nice when you want to leave the boat for the night. I've noticed under here, normally the battery switches for the boat are sort of hidden away in a locker or something like that, and you've got to clamber around and lean in and get it. But actually on here, it's just fitted just under here. So actually nice, simple, just to turn everything off before we go, and then everything is off and secure. But this is the Ribeye Sport 785, and I think great value for money. So it's a 2019 model, and if you want to know how much we're selling it for, please visit our website, Parker Adams Boat Sales, and the website is parker-adams.co.uk, and we can see how much this is up for at the moment. But I think it offers great value for money on a nearly new boat, and it is absolutely pristine. It's only done about 30 hours, this boat, and it is offered as almost brand new condition. So please come and see it when we can, and subscribe to our channel, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and please see the drone video we've done on it down in the description below. Thank you.